and no surprise, Anthony Richardson goes top 5 overall. But before we get into the NFL draft, any surprises, anything that you guys were shocked about just holistically from the NFL draft?
Yeah, surprised. Oh, sorry, go ahead. So
no, you got it. Go ahead.
Surprised that I guess that people legitimately thought Anthony Richardson wouldn't be a first-round draft pick. Even as the process went on, and he goes to 4. I don't think he would have slid past Seattle at 5, to be honest, from people that I'd spoken with about how that pre-draft process had gone. And then I was surprised that Brenton Cox didn't sign anywhere until Monday or late Sunday or Monday. The news came out Monday morning. But I thought even with the baggage that he has, the NFL is a league where you want a franchise quarterback, someone to protect that franchise quarterback, and then somebody to go and hit the other guy's franchise quarterback. I think Brenton Cox can do that.
Yeah.
So surprised that I thought he would get drafted, to be honest with you, somewhere late.
It was going to be iffy.
Yeah, I thought with some of the concerns of getting kicked off the team, probably relatively low production. And I almost wonder if he just waited to see all of his options on, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, all of his options, from Saturday and Sunday, and then make that choice. Because, as an undrafted free agent, you almost have a better opportunity. You give yourself a better opportunity than you do getting drafted probably 6th or 7th round, because those guys are dispensable as well. Give your chance or give yourself the best opportunity to look at the depth chart of who's looking at you. But he's going to reunite with Teradell Slayton. A couple people in the chat mentioning that Will Levis going in the 2nd round was a bit of a surprise. I'm not surprised. I think, from a scouting perspective, there was a big difference between that and the mock draft folks. I think a lot of the people if you listen to a lot of the folks that do scouting for a living and not just mock drafts, they weren't as high on him as Mel Kiper and Todd McShay. I think he landed in a decent spot. I thought that Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, sent out a ridiculous tweet on Friday saying what would Colts Nation do if we drafted Will Levis in the 2nd round. But other than that, I think that he got a good landing spot, but not surprised to see him not go top 10 though. I saw him play football.
Yeah, I saw him put mayonnaise in coffee. So
yeah, decision making.
Yeah, bro. Overall, a good draft for the Gators, man. Yeah. Can't complain. I expected. Shout out to Anthony Richardson for going top 5. We predicted top 10 the entire season. Never got off of that take as a record label staff and a crew. So shout out to us as well for being right, despite the up and downs of the season. But I expected Osiris Torrance to go 1st round. They didn't take any guards in the 1st round. So Gervon Dexter became our 2nd guy taken to the Chicago Bears. In my pecking order, I had Osiris going 1st round and then Gervon maybe 2nd or 3rd. Gervon went higher than I thought into the 2nd round. So overall, good spot for him. Amari Burney gets drafted with no combine invite. I thought that was great for him. Ventrell Miller goes in the 4th round to my Jags he was injured, so he couldn't participate in the combine or pro day. Great spot for him. Yeah. He came back and made a lot of money returning to the University of Florida. Overall, just a very good day, man. Justin Shorter, the Bills got very active with Gators. They bring in Justin Shorter and also Osiris Torrance, but also grabbed and the free agents, who did they grab free agent wise?
So they grabbed Richard Garage.
Let's
run through the list real quick. Silk, you did a really good job. If you did that off memory, that's fantastic. Round 1, number 4 overall pick, Anthony Richardson. He's the 3rd quarterback taken overall. Gervon Dexter, round 2, pick 53 to the Chicago Bears. Not long after, Osiris Torrance, round 2, pick 59 to the Buffalo Bills. Great spot for him. Was a little bit surprised to see him fall. Did think, and the odds makers had him at -175 to get drafted in the 1st round. I thought he'd be the 1st guard taken. I think it was the 3rd guard taken, but still a great landing spot for him in Buffalo. Go ahead.
Real quick on Torrance, just speaking to some agents over the weekend. Everybody loved his film and what he brought to the table. Is pretty much no penalties, no sacks. His entire career, he's been pretty good and productive. But his body composition is what threw some staffs off and some GMs off. Just when you, of course, you see the weight on paper, it all makes sense. But when you look at his body composition in person, it's a little bit of a turnoff for some GMs. So he might have slid. And also, they just didn't value guards as high as I thought they should have this year.
Yep.
It's not a sexy position. Like trying to sell drafting an offensive guard at 14, like you're gonna piss off a fan base. But that's a position. Like Osiris Torrance will sit at left or right guard for the Buffalo Bills for like 14 years.
Yeah.
And they'll be thrilled with him. The fan base will be thrilled with him for the next decade. But they would have been like pissed if the Bills had used like the 21st overall pick with him. It's just a weird spot. It's not a sexy spot. It's hard to sell. But guys like Osiris Torrance, and I had an NFL scout tell me he's got the worst body I've ever seen. And then you throw on the tape and he just moves men. He just moves people. And I'm like, I agree with you.
Is it just like not fit, you mean, or just?
Yeah.
He's lost a lot of weight too. So
he's
like,
lost a bunch of weight, which is good. Okay. But when you lose weight, you start getting some like loose skin and stuff. I remember when I saw him in spring and I was like, what the hell is Billy doing bringing these guys from UL? I'm like, this guy looks terrible. And then you start watching him and then I'm like, okay, well, if he's terrible, then the defensive line's terrible because they're not getting anywhere close to the quarterback when they're going up against him. And then you watch him during the season, you're like, I don't care what he looks like. Like the dude just plays football.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to see him, and like you said, Nick, I think that he'll be in the Bills organization, or at least in the NFL, for a long time coming. Great in pass protection, great at holding blocks, and just a great run blocker as well. So I'm excited to see him, and he goes to a great team and a great offense, and they're going to come in second in the AFC East to the Dolphins this year. Round 4, pick 121, Ventrell Miller. Great year for him. First linebacker selected since 2019 for the Florida Gators. Heads, like Silk said, over to Jacksonville with the Jaguars. Pick round 5, pick 150, Justin Shorter. Goes to the Buffalo Bills as well. An opportunity to join Josh Allen, a pretty explosive offense there. Opportunity to work into that roster. Obviously, the Bills have some decent pass catchers already, but give him the opportunity to showcase what his skill set is, and that's those longer routes. And he goes to a quarterback that can hit those long routes. So excited to see him in the red and blue as well. Round 6, Silk, you mentioned, Amari Burney goes pick 203 to the Las Vegas Raiders. First player drafted by the Raiders since Tommy Townsend. First player ever drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders. So again, did not have a combine invite. You got to give a shout out to Jay Bateman and what they were able to do and turn Amari Burney from a liability, frankly, into a guy that really had a great senior year and was able to get drafted without a combine invite. Very hard to do, but congratulations to him. Those are the 6 players that are drafted. Silk, you mentioned that Richard Garage also got picked up by the Buffalo Bills as an undrafted free agent. Trey Dean goes to the New York Jets. Rashad Torrance goes to the Los Angeles Rams. And then, Nick, you mentioned Brenton Cox gets picked up by the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and I don't know if I've told this story, but Jay Bateman kind of won me over. I think we were waiting for an interview somewhere. We were in the Heavener Complex, the football facility, and Bateman. And it was before the season even, and the Raiders were one of the teams. Bateman was just going to bat for both Ventrell Miller and Amari Burney. And at this point, he'd only been around them for a couple months. But and a lot of people, when I've told this story, are like, that's what a coach should do. And I'm like, yeah, it just impressed me. Just giving you my opinion. Bateman had only known Amari Burney and Ventrell for a little while, but was going to bat, pounding the table for these 2 linebackers, and the Raiders were one of the teams, or one of the scouts that he was talking to. So I know some people have questions, concerns, comments about Bateman and his recruiting ability, but I think he's great X's and O's. I think you saw the best versions of Amari Burney and Ventrell Miller under his leadership as a coach. And then to watch how he went to bat for guys who he didn't recruit that didn't commit to him, that he'd only been around for a little while. Jay Bateman's good in my book.
Let's see. Let's do a little trivia question. It's the same year. What two teams in the NFL most in the past drafted Gators? Not which team, which is the two furthest. I'm trying to think of the way to put this. What two teams in the NFL have not drafted Gators in the longest time? I'll give you a hint. Both teams were in 2007.
Yeah, that hint did nothing for me.
Yeah, I know.
2007.
If I give you names, I think that'll help you. But see if you guys can get it off.
Not Jacksonville. It's not Buffalo.
Well, obviously, because they both just drafted.
Indianapolis?
Nope. Indianapolis drafted a Florida Gators quarterback at number 4 overall. Quarterback.
I thought it was before this year.
No, including this year.
Oh, okay.
Draft? It can't be them.
Seattle?
Nope. The Seattle Seahawks drafted Stone Forsythe in 2021.
Hmm.
All right, this is not great radio, Dan.
No, it is great radio.
Hold on, let me think a little bit. Trying to think of all the damn teams, bro. Is Arizona one of them?
Chicago drafted was Gervon Dexter. I'm sorry, who'd you say, Sil?
He said Arizona. They drafted Marco Wilson.
Yeah, they drafted Marco Wilson in 2021. The chat has one of the answers correct. Linebacker Brandon Seiler in 2007. Do you guys know who drafted him?
Chargers.
The Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers. And then the other team in 2007 drafted cornerback Ryan Smith, the Tennessee Titans. Other teams that haven't drafted in a while, the Steelers last drafted a Gator in 2012, Chris Rainey. Our Miami Dolphins haven't drafted a Gator since 2013, where they grabbed 3 of them, Jelani Jenkins, Mike Gillislee, and Caleb Sturgis. And Kansas City was 2016. And then the Baltimore Ravens, 2013.
What was Cleveland? The Browns were like
the Cleveland Browns drafted 2018 Antonio Callaway.
Oh, what up, AD? All day Callaway.
Yeah. So yeah, a little NFL draft trivia for you guys. Of the undrafted free agents, Richard Garrard with the Bills, Trey Dean with the Jets, Rashad Torrance with the Rams, or Brenton Cox with the Packers. Who do you think has the best chance to earn a spot?
Brenton Cox.
More of a premium position. I said this before. Rashad Torrance made a bad business decision. Mm-hmm. He didn't need to play college football at Florida this year, but he needed to play college football another year. I'll go with Trey Dean. Just every scout I've talked to, I was surprised he wasn't drafted. Mm-hmm. Every scout that I talked to, they like him a lot. I think Trey Dean might need to be humbled a little bit because he's going to need to make a roster by playing special teams, by playing all of the special teams, something that when you're a redshirt junior and senior, you're not being asked to. So it's something he hasn't probably done since maybe his sophomore year. So he's going to have to make a roster through special teams.
I got Garage at second.
I think Garage stands a chance. I don't know. The NFL carries offensive linemen a little bit differently than obviously college. Obviously, there's less spots, but you have a lot of utility players. I think that Garage could probably play both tackle and guard. I don't dislike that take, Silk. I'd have to look at the Bills' offensive line right now. But if I remember correctly, watching them lose to my Dolphins the last few years, but still watch those games where they've been successful. They've had really great pass protection. So I think it depends on what salary cap certainly looks like. I think Garage has a spot in the NFL. I do like your take on Trey Dean and playing special teams, Nick. I do think that he makes a roster, but I think I'm going to go with Brenton Cox. I know that the Packers are rehabbing their roster this season. I know that pass rushers are where they do need some help, and I think that Brenton Cox can be, the guy that goes and does attack the quarterback. He's got to be a multi-tool player in the NFL because there's guys that are bigger, faster, and stronger than him on those offensive lines. But I think if Brenton Cox can get his mind right, he has a lot of talent. It's just a matter of putting it all together. But I think all of them, I struggle to see Torrance in the NFL, but I would not be surprised if 3 of those 4 are not on a practice squad or on a roster somewhere this upcoming year.
Yeah, I think what hurt Garage is him being injured and not being able to work out. I thought if he worked out, he's more of an athletic offensive lineman that would have shined in workouts, but he was battling some injury stuff. I think he makes a roster fairly easy. Watching just former linemen in the past, Fred went on and to the Steelers, I think, that picked him up, but he's had a pretty good career. He's been in a couple Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Fred Johnson. Yep.
Fred Johnson, yeah. Former Royal Palm Beach Wildcat, my alumni, man. Shout out to Fred. But I think Rich is going to make some money and be around the league for a while as an offensive lineman, to be honest with you. We'll see how it all pans out. It does depend on their depth chart. But that's the thing about free agency. You get to kind of just sit back in the bushes, and once you got picked in the 5th round, in my opinion, you kind of want to go undrafted free agent and choose your spot because you're not getting a big bonus. You're not getting, it's not a lot invested in you to keep you around during camp. They'll cut you just like an undrafted free agent, but undrafted free agents get to choose their spot. So we'll see, man. I think Rich is going to be all right.
I remember saying that about Tyree Cleveland, because Tyree Cleveland was drafted by the Broncos, but in the same year they drafted like Judy 5th overall or 4th overall, whatever that was, and then a receiver in the 2nd round. And when Cleve got drafted in the 7th, I was like, oh, he's screwed. He's screwed. They just invested tens of millions of dollars into players at his position. But shout out to him, and kind of on the same note I was talking about trading, Tyree was like, all right, bet. I will be on all 4 special teams. I will make myself valuable. If you're a late round pick or an undrafted free agent, you have to fill multiple roster spots. You're not just a left guard. Like Richard Garage needs to be on the punt team, on field goal, on punt block. He needs to be on every available special teams. You have to make the GM say, hey, this guy fills 4 different roster spots for us, so he's valuable.
Right. And that's where Brenton Cox should get an opportunity as well on special teams, being able to kind of bull rush and everything else. We'll see.